Welcome to The Seer Show. Join us as we explore medicine, health, mental health, mindset, and fitness, guided by lifelong seeker of knowledge, Sifu Raphael. He will lead us on a transformative journey with groundbreaking insights and extraordinary guests from around the world. Together, we'll dive into the latest holistic approaches to well-being and the profound connections between mind, body, and soul. Sifu Raphael's expertise in positive thinking, resilience, and personal growth will inspire you to reach new heights. Get ready for the Seer Show. It's time to embrace a brighter, healthier, and more empowered future.
5, 4, 0.
Ashley, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the Seer Show. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun. And that was quite the intro.
You like that?
Very
Put
energizing.
some energy there, right?
I was excited to be here, excited to be on Earth. It's great.
That's it. It's an incredible day, right? We're alive
Absolutely.
and we're going to share some incredible stuff. You know, I love what you do. And I think this is one of the reasons that you're on the show. So tell us a little bit about what you do and let's get deep into it, if you don't mind.
Okay. It's funny even just asking, what I do. And I think this is probably something that a lot of people, especially that come onto this show, maybe find challenging because you recognize how everything is so intricately connected. So I started just focusing on, okay, let's go to the results element. I am a success strategist and futurist. I help people align their energetics with what they feel to be is their purpose, their innate strength. And when you are doing that, happiness comes, alignment comes, fulfillment comes. And also I've been deeply in this world for so long. I didn't recognize what I was building towards when I was studying manifestation in high school, and then astrology, and then human design, and then more about neuroscience. I recognized through all of this, and also adding in astrology, I recognized, I'm going to say I'm a futurist. I'm able to help people align within their energetics and with the collective cycles. And I feel that is where people are able to lean in to their strength in a more amplified way because they feel like it's really working. It's really working. Being me is working, and it's going to keep working.
I love it. I love it. You know, being you is working. I love that part. And you know, one of the things that, and I love the way you put it, think about, and when you put it that way, thinking of people's energies, how we all have energies and we can put the energies out into the world and actually receive a lot more energy back as long as it's positive energy, right?
Absolutely. And it's so fascinating talking about, so I always feel I have almost like I have one foot in two worlds, or I am in the cosmos, I am in the quantum field, and the other one where I'm like, okay, let's make sure we're grounding all of this into science. Let's make sure we're kind of grounding this in so people are able to have that practical lens with it. And I am constantly just amazed and delighted when I'm constantly recognizing how theories that were based in quantum physics, but 1900s, 1920, all that, they are regularly being proven true. So there's a ton of scientific discoveries around energy that kind of just goes like under the, because it still seems or it sounds so woo-woo to this day. And I'll have conversations with people about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, see, I knew it was true. I knew it was true. And then some people are still like, I don't know, it sounds out there. And other people I've talked to, we've recognized how whenever you, so much stuff seems very mystical in nature. It seems magical. And then you're recognizing, a lot of this stuff that seems mystical, magical in nature is constantly being proven true.
Mm.
And so I love talking with people like you because it helps people expand their mindset and their energy to recognizing, oh, so much more is possible than
Yeah.
what we have realized. And when it comes to energy, everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything is energy.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. You know, one of when you were talking, I was thinking of when people say, "Man, that person drained me of my energy." And it comes because they allow it, right? If you think you have a faucet, right,
Mhm,
you can shoot it out, but there's another spigot where it just comes out without you wanting it to, where people are actually you feel drained by them. How
mhm,
can we align ourselves? First, we should always align ourselves with people who have positive energy, right?
mhm,
But how can we, in case we're in a work situation or in a different situation where people are very draining, they're very demanding, if you will,
mhm.
how do we secure ourselves so we
Small,
don't become drained?
small little tip that I have had a lot of my clients do is just take a brief moment to tune into your energy. And
Mm,
from this space, create spatial awareness. So something
mm,
I do is I'll even recognize, okay, there's a wall in front of me about 4.5 feet to my left, okay, about 3.5, and you create the spatial awareness, and it allows for you to recognize, okay, kind of where I end and they begin. And it allows for
mm,
you to energetically create sort of a little bubble around yourself that allows for you to feel protected. And it also just in creating that spatial awareness, it creates that separation. So that's just kind of a small little trick. So it's just really connecting in with your body, recognizing, okay, putting up those energetic boundaries.
right?
And that's something that a lot of people, though, when they feel like they're constantly being drained. So, one of the modalities that I use is called human design, and it shows us
Mm,
kind of our energetic blueprint. So, we
mm,
can see in people's charts where they're more likely to be conditioned and where they're more likely to be drained. And a lot of our conditioning comes through just kind of maybe our upbringing, but then our habits and a lot of these things that are just built on top of each other as we evolve and as we grow. Recognize there's certain things in people's charts where you can see, oh, okay, so this person,
mm,
it's more than likely they're going to be draining a lot of their energy by maybe just impulsively saying yes to everything, saying yes,
mm.
something yes, 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 yes. And then they're like, why am I so drained? It's like, well, you are almost compulsively saying yes to everything, but then we can go a little bit deeper into, the why, and then there's kind of this peeling back people do, and then from there it's creating some alignment. But a lot of it is just these habits that
Mm,
people have also built up, or
right.
feeling really really overwhelmed. While it is a real sensation, begins with a feeling, and then there's habits that are built up around it. So a lot of it just comes back to bringing all of your energy and your power and your awareness back to this now moment, because from
Mm.
here you can handle it all, or at least you can handle it a lot better than you could trying to be up there or back there.
Yeah. I love everything that you're saying, and what it keeps coming back to me. To me, it's a choice, right? A choice of how we even show up into a
Mhm.
room, into a space, into somebody else's life. One of the things that I always tell my clients, and I encourage them also to do, is to hold on to your power. So if somebody comes at you and they're barking and you bark back, you're letting your power go, right? And I don't mean real bark, I mean like yelling at each other. So I always say to somebody, if somebody's mad, don't take their anger. If
Mhm.
somebody's sad, don't take their sadness. Have your own energy, your own power, your own happiness to protect you from that. And so if somebody's mad, even if they're mad at you, that's okay. They're allowed to be mad at you. for whatever reason. And then you want to find out why. And then don't give in to that negativity that they may be portraying, right? So, and I love the way you're talking about this, because for me, that's always the whole thing. When people look at me, they're like, I've never seen you angry. I've never seen you mad or crazy or losing it or throwing things, or you don't. I mean, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, you just smile. I'm like, why do you do that? And I'm like, because no one can take my power away. If I release that strength that I have, then yes, I will feel drained. I will feel less than sometimes, but I don't allow that. So I love that you mentioned that, and I call it a choice, right? Because we have a choice on how we react when somebody comes at us. If listen, I also teach my clients about proximity, right? And you talked about personal space, and I've tested some of my clients, and I'll go, how do you feel if, I'm 2 feet away from you or 3 feet away? They're like, I'm comfortable. I said, okay, let me know when you get uncomfortable. And they have no idea what I'm talking about. And so I'm talking slowly. I'm moving closer and closer and closer till I'm like this close to them. And they're like, you can see, like, even when I get like a foot and a half, they start getting nervous, and they get nervous and nervous. And all of a sudden, anxiety builds in. And all of a sudden, that you can see they start to sweat, and they're getting really nervous. And then I go, well, you see, you have to understand where that level is, where that pressure, if you will, coming in, what you're going to feel. I'm a hugger, so I have no problem with people getting close as long as they're going to hug me. And I'm a fighter, so if they're gonna throw something at me,
You're ready for
I'm
either
ready to
one.
take them on. Yeah. So I'm a hugger and a fighter, so I'm good on both.
Those moments they can be incredible gifts, though. So when we begin to put ourselves into situations that do feel more uncomfortable, there's so much growth, obviously, that comes in being more comfortable with discomfort, but in recognizing, okay, like somebody is getting closer, like, okay, where am I? I'm feeling this in my body. What is this anxiety? What is the pressure? Where am I feeling that? And then if you can kind of make note of that, and then maybe, at a later date, you can come back to it. Okay, so I noticed that when I am being approached by somebody in a situation, I get a lot of anxiety, or like my gut just feels like it's a brick, and I'll do anything to avoid that feeling. So that's when we retreat, or we fight, or whatever it is. But recognizing, so that right there, that trigger, that is a cue for what we need to transmute, what we need to release, what we need to, if nothing else, create a different perspective shift around. So there's a lot of modalities and tricks and things we can do, and even things we can do just on our own, will be just recognizing what that feeling is, and like almost leaning into like that feeling within ourselves until you see, oh, that dissipated and I didn't die.
Yes.
I didn't die. So, okay, I guess it wasn't comfortable, but it was okay. Because so often it's that discomfort will feel like, this feels like death. I know, even if it's something that's like, I know doing that is a part of what I'm here to do, but why does it feel like I am about to die, right? All of your like, stop it. You have to activate. So like, how can this be the right thing for me to do if it feels so bad? And you're like, oh, well, it's just public speaking, or it's just asking for a raise, or it's just, it's these things that are important for us to do, but there's a lot of discomfort that is a part of growth. And if we're able to work with that energy more, that's where the magic happens. And I loved how you were talking about that it's nobody can take away your power. One of my mentors before was giving you an example about how if somebody was giving some example, basically like if you're going to go to a surgeon, or you're going to even like a sniper, right? He made that example, and it was somebody just trying to get people's attention, talking about like, you want that person, like that person is going to be so calm, right? So it's like the people who have the power actually are so calm. It's the frazzled of other people that are the ones that are just spraying their energy. They are spraying their energy everywhere. And they even another example about somebody was a man, like a father and daughter walking, and somebody said something kind of nasty to the daughter. And then later on, somebody asked him, like, what are you going to do to that man? And he was like, and he just said he was going to not let that man make him mad. If anything, he was going to try to make that guy mad, because whoever is the one who's angry, who's riled, who's not in like steady,
No control.
spraying their energy everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about that control, right? And I like that analogy, because when someone threatens a loved one, they're actually threatening you as well, because they're threatening to see what you would do and how you would react. So, and I like the fact that growth comes when there's friction, right? Without friction, there is no growth. There is growth in all times, even without friction. But sometimes friction brings the most growth, the one that we can really, really bounce from, I guess. It's a springboard, right? It creates a
Combustion,
springboard.
it
Yeah.
is. It's like a combustion, like an engine, right? It's the
Mhm.
friction that starts, and that's something that, for example, in people's natal charts and in astrology, for example, you can see these points of tension in people's charts, and it always guides us to where there are these moments of breakthrough, or these points of tension in people's lives that are actually designed to propel them forward. It's the idea that if you were just to chill on a beach just forever, you actually would probably get pretty bored. The appeal of that would, just like supreme relaxation, it would kind of lose its appeal pretty quickly. So it's almost thinking about when somebody is writing a story, there's always friction. There's always a villain. There's always something, and it's always this, like, that's what gets people moving. It gets people to grow, gets people to go forward. So when we think about that in our own life as well, that there are going to be these points of tension in our life, and it's how we handle it. Kind of is, okay, do we get to level up, or do we get to go around the block again? And certainly it'll come back again, which is another point to recognize that we're always being gifted the opportunity to, okay, let's go at this one again. Let's see if we actually learned the lesson, if we integrated the wisdom, if we have allowed for essentially the upgrade.
Yeah. I mean, you made me think of somebody on an island, and they would be bored after a while, right? When I go on vacation, I don't mind sitting by the beach, but I can't sit there all day. I'm like, I bring a book. Even though it's gorgeous, I still need to read. I need to do something. I need to get in the water. I need to become active, maybe play a game, you know, eat. So it made me think, what if somebody's in a cave and they come out of the cave, they see the beautiful skies and everything, and all the food they will ever need for their whole life, every time it's there. When they come out of the cave, all their meals are there. And then they go back in their cave, but they don't leave within 3 feet of the cave. What kind of a life would that be? It'd be
Probably one that feels safe. It's probably just one that feels safe,
But they would never know adventure. They wouldn't know movement, the real movement of different people, different abilities that they can possess. Because I believe growth comes when you are challenged. I'm about to have a bunch of people go to black belt under me, and for them to have gone this far, they've been challenged at every level. Every single level, they needed to be challenged. And I don't make everybody a black belt. They actually have to fight for it. They do. That's one of the things. They have to fight for their belt. So, but they also have to know how to fight for their belt. Right? So it's the skills that come along when we're learning something new, when there is that friction, is because we need to learn the lesson of how to avoid certain things, how to know what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, and even how to handle
Mm,
a lot of situations. There's going to be situations that we all come up with where we don't know how.
mm,
This is why we have a coach, right? This
mhm,
is why we have a mentor. Or
mhm,
this is why we look back in history and go, this is similar.
mhm,
How do we figure it out? Because there
mhm,
is some similarities, right?
mhm,
Look at COVID.
mhm,
Go back
mhm,
1910, right? What
mhm,
happened back then?
mhm.
Oh, something
Yep.
similar, right?
Things tend to repeat, and if
Mm,
not repeat, they kind of rhyme, right? And
mm,
that's something we can really look to these different cycles in history, in the world. I mean, everything in nature has a cycle. Everything is
mm,
cyclical. So why would we think that we would actually be any different? So
yeah.
there's a cycle to everything. We can see when, oh, okay, this is something that kind of keeps popping back up, Megan. And sometimes you
Mhm.
can even notice it'll go along with other themes in our life too. And then we're like, the matrix is glitching. How can this be so? How can this be? And you recognize, oh my gosh. So you, I mean, you kind of look at it too. You can look at it, maybe it is just everything is just random chance, but then stuff just happens to you. Why do things always happen to you? Man, you
Mm,
can't catch a break. Or you can figure out how to work with that energy. And it's even gamifying life. I found a lot of people, they kind of have
mm,
fun with it. View it as a view life
mhm,
as a game. If that resonates with you, view it as a game, right? And you play
right.
a game, you if you don't win, you're at least trying to get better, right? And every time you're playing the game. So if you view situations just in more of a, okay, let me learn from this. Let me, or wow, this seems to be something that always happens to me. Myself, certainly I must be the common denominator in this. So how
Mm,
can I handle this differently? How can I, kind of grow through this situation? And I found as well that kind of it dissolves some of the, this is the worst things ever happened to me. And if you kind of be like, okay, let me like come back, bring my energy back in and kind of like view this as a game. We're trying to learn
mm,
from the situation. And because a lot of people as well, they'll find a lot of purpose through struggle. So if we think about maybe why certain things happen to us, as when even talking about that, the friction makes us grow, friction makes us move, but it's how then we respond to that friction when it happens helps us either grow or just kind of stay the same. Recognizing that also the way in which our mind works, like it's wild, and you recognize how our
mhm,
energetics and the neuroscience, all of it works together to create our reality. Like our brains, they want to be like, they want to be doing something in the moment that is going to be solving a problem, moving us forward. But if we maybe we like consciously we want to move forward, but subconsciously we have tremendous blocks, we're gonna
mhm,
always maybe put up some kind of an unconscious block will always appear, so that then we get to, our brain gets to think it's really being busy solving a problem, but then we still don't get to move forward. So then it's kind of recognizing as well of, okay, let's look at some of these problems, some of these things that keep happening. Are you actually in alignment with your conscious desires and your unconscious
mm,
desires, and
mm,
recognizing that there's not any part of us that is bad or wrong or trying to screw us over. It's rather recognizing that we have so many defenses put in place that just to be a human, right? There's things that just evolve, things that we, survival mechanisms when we were young that were put in place, and now we're like, okay, well that was helpful when I was being bullied, right, in school, but
mm,
now I'm like, okay, now I'm trying to move ahead, so I don't want to just hide out, it's recognizing that is, and then allowing for yourself to actually heal and release those parts. And it is just wild. And
mhm,
the things that we do to protect ourselves, and recognizing that we're all the parts of ourselves are always trying. Are always trying to
yeah,
keep us safe. We're
yeah,
always trying, but maybe just not you know the best method, but the intention is
yeah.
good. So that's a
Intention has to be there.
on its own for people, is to recognize, like, okay, like, ooh, if there's a part of me that it's always putting up these blocks, why? What what what
Mm,
what what part of me, maybe even a certain cycle in my life, what age. You can really kind of do out of that regression, going back to recognize, okay, what age was I when I first had that feeling of really feeling unsafe? And it's like, because maybe it is like, it's that there's a 7-year-old in us that is still like coming up to snip or to coming up to keep us safe. And we're like, okay, well.
Yeah. My gosh, you touched on so many incredible things. Do me a favor. I'd love for people to connect with you. So in the private chat, if you can put in whatever link you want people to come and find you, do that.
Absolutely.
And then here's the thoughts that came to me. One is you made me think of deja vu, a glitch in the matrix, right? Because people go like, wait, did I experience that already? Wow, that's a glitch right there, right? And then the other one that you really touched upon is how we blame other people for our failures, for our downs. But when we have great results, we forget to give credit, right? We forget to give credit to those who made us better, to those who made us resilient. I give credit every single day. I wake up in the morning and first thing, I pray. That's the first thing I do. And I thank God for all the gifts that He's bestowed upon me. Or the fact that I can use my hands, the fact that I can see, I can hear, I can breathe, I can smell. So I am in total gratitude the minute I wake up and throughout the day. I can be driving, I'm like, Lord, thank you for the car I'm driving. Thank you for the people. Thank you for whoever created the lights, whoever created this car, whatever. So I'm always in gratitude everywhere I go. When I meet a new person, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you for coming on the show, and I'm happy that we're having this conversation. So for me, it's about gratitude all day long. And I don't take things for granted that way. So I am grateful for all the lessons I've learned, for all, even the people who've done me wrong, because they taught me how not to treat people, right?
And
So
they
it's
taught you how
that
to flex a
constant.
certain muscle. Yeah, there's a ton in there, and that's so important to recognize that, because even just going into the energetic component of gratitude, but then even the neurological component to it, and the way that it attracts and the way that it connects with our nervous system. Even so, in our brain, there's the reticular activating system, right? So that's the idea of when you say, I think I really like a red car, and all of a sudden you're like, does everybody have red cars? Because you kind of already put a filter in place. So if you wake up and you're like, wow, today's the best day ever. Today's the best day ever. You're gonna be surprised at, oh yeah, I got a free coffee. Oh my God, I just saw the cutest dog. Oh my God, I got a new neighbor and they're so nice. All these little things happen versus the opposite, which is Murphy's law, kind of what some days, and you're like, oof, okay. So then when you have those days, it's when you can recognize, oh wow, okay. One little thing, I'm really getting off track. It's very much a choose your own adventure. You kind of get to have it every day. And that goes back into that gamification of it. But when you allow for yourself to, okay, yeah, maybe a few things happened today that were kind of hiccups, but there's a much longer game in play. I don't see the end game right now. So I'm sure that these little hiccups are even a part of something that I'm going to need to be learning and growing. And then you can focus in on something good. And it's when you're in those moments, and then you're almost like hearing yourself be like, focus on gratitude. You're like, what? So if you kind of leave a little post-it note, or kind of remind yourself of when okay, yep, there's plenty of times when you felt like this, and the day turned out to totally be turned around because of a little perspective shift, or you allowed something nice to happen. And it's also, it's when we are feeling good, it's the good keeps growing. The good keeps coming. Good begets good. So you have to remind yourself of that when you are feeling low, that, okay, maybe I can do something that will be conducive to something that is good and that is positive versus just, sometimes people, they'll still just like they'll stay in the dense energy, because you're like, I can't even remember. I can't even imagine what it's like to not feel like this. And you're like, okay, just go for a walk.
Yeah, you're reminding me of like video games, right? The arcade ones, right? The ones that they actually were plugged into the wall. And I remember as a kid, we were playing a game, and one of the other kids just pulled the plug. And we're like, "Whoa, what happened?" And the game broke, and then he's there laughing, and we're like, "Oh man, you just wasted our quarter." Because now we got to plug it in and put more money in. So I think the game of life, if you want to continue playing, you have to pay, right? Don't forget, put your link in that in the private chat so we can share it with everybody, because you have so much to offer to people, and I want people to definitely connect with you. And I definitely need you on more of my shows. I have 5, so
I know. So you have so many shows. I was like, start here, and I'll go on the other ones, because
yeah.
that's why it's so funny when somebody, the way this whole conversation started was, okay, tell us what you do. And I'm like, okay, well, but I have a lot of different methods and modalities that I do with people to ultimately get them to, it's to be the player. If you're going to actually play a video game, it's like, okay, you can just pick any random player, but works a lot better when you know the strengths of that player, right? Like, this player is really good at this. They have really high jumps. If you don't know they have high jumps and you're using them for digging and the actual jumpers, it's like, okay, let's learn about what the strengths are. Let's lean into those strengths. Let's learn some of the rules of the game. Let's play some tricks. Let's learn how to do things a little bit better and more, because that's where the good keeps coming. You create more alignment. And the gamification, I think that's so fun. So I think it takes some of the overly heaviness of life out of it, because we have to, sometimes people, especially in the spiritual community or in the growth community, it can be just to be like, everything's amazing all the time. If you're going through something wrong, you manifested it, and you're like, whoa, let's take a moment to recognize, no, life, like you say, you got to pay to play, right? There is growth. There are challenges, but it's how we respond to those that determines almost if we got to do that whole level again, or we get to level up. But really kind of having that space for recognizing, okay, that was tough. Like take a minute, like let that energy work with that energy, because a lot of people as well, the way in which they'll respond to the challenges almost is like an overly toughness. Somebody can just be like, no, it's fine, and it doesn't bother me. But in reality, they're building up, it's like scar tissue. And then it's another barrier, another boundary that we have that isn't necessarily keeping us safe as much as it's just keeping other things away.
It's very interesting when you talk about barriers and scar tissue and all that, because we after an operation, you want to work out so you don't build up scar tissue, right? You want to do that after a cut. You kind of like want to work it out a little bit, massage it. So that's, I think, that what we're talking about is you need to massage your problems. In other words, you need to pay attention to them so that they don't build up and stay with you. Because the more scar tissue that you have, guess what? The bigger it looks, the bigger the outward is not going to be effective for you. So Maxwell, who was a plastic surgeon, and he wrote that incredible book, talks about people who came to him because they thought they were ugly and they wanted to have something adjusted, and they had this plastic surgery, and then they went back and they blamed him because they still felt ugly. So it wasn't the look that they were trying to get rid of, it was the feeling, right? And the feeling is deeper, so that's where we have to work it out. We have to work out those scar tissues, because life is going to cut you left and right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's how you deal with it. If you come in with a smile and you go, you know what, it happened. And one of the things I tell people is like, listen, when you spill milk, don't cry over it. Just get the cat to lick it up, right? And then somebody said to me, here's the funny thing. Somebody said, hey, cats are not supposed to have milk. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So, but it's how we deal with the
Mhm.
situation, right?
Yeah, and
Many people get mad and angry when they, like somebody even spills their coffee.
mhm,
Like, oh, you made me spill my coffee. Wait a minute. You spilled it. I didn't make you spill it. So we either lash out at other people or we lash out at ourselves
mhm,
instead of saying, hey, you know, that happened. Let me just clean it up,
mhm,
move on, right? Instead of
mhm,
blaming,
mhm.
right?
Like, yeah, we're either creating a life that caters to our growth or caters to our wound.
Mm,
Creating a whole life so that this doesn't get touched. And you're like, you go through
right.
life doing weird things to try to avoid the pain, or working with it. And I've
Mm,
also found that this is where I can see it's, even when I'll look to people's charts, there are
mm,
clear indicators of these lessons, these places of growth that from the looks of our charts, you can see, oh, it almost seems like you signed up for this in some
mm,
regard. And
right.
when people have an awareness of that, it does a perspective shift. I like to tell this story of, it was a couple of years ago. I was trying to regularly do that 5 a.m. club, right, where you like
Mm.
set an alarm at like 4:30 and you do push-ups and you read a book and you do all this stuff before 5 a.m. And I only just started it, but one day I forgot. And I was like so sleepy because I couldn't fall asleep. So my alarm went off at like 4:30, and I was like, what is what? And then I remembered, I was like, oh, I did this to make me better. And then it shifted at that moment. So it does something when you almost see like, okay, so how would you respond if you knew that in some cosmic way you came here to close this loop, to close this cycle, to heal this wound? So if
Mm,
you knew like you came to do this, wow, there's going to be a lot of events popping up in your life that are going to make it impossible to ignore. If you
mhm,
really think about it, this like soul level growth. They were talking about, you're working with people, gain their black belt, right? So it's like working like a strong body, strong mind.
mhm, mhm,
It's like it is soul level growth that people come here for and to do. And if you view a lot of your challenges through that lens, I guarantee, especially when you connect the dots, you see like, this thing, this thing is a bummer, but I have to be here,
yeah,
why
yeah,
this isn't fair, this isn't fair. And you're gonna like, okay, whew, what if I came here to grow past this? And it was like
mm,
part of my soul level growth.
yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting that you talked about the joining the 5 a.m. club. I've been in that club practically all my life. So this morning, I got up before 4,
Mhm.
and I showered. I shower every morning. I do a cold shower
Mhm.
thing. I went to my gym. I worked out, and then I said, "Oh, I got some electrical to do." So I was up on a ladder this morning and I did electrical work. I came down and then I was writing some letters. And so one of the things that benefits a lot of people, and I always tell people, listen, if you're not a morning person, that's okay. But you need that time
Mhm.
where you can do whatever it is you're going to do.
Mhm.
Not everybody's going to wake up before
Mhm.
5. I mean, I do, and
I
I'm
was like
already
3.
showered before. I'm way
Yeah,
showered before 4:30. So, but for
that is
me,
that's very impressive. I get
but
up very early when I go to the gym. I'll go to the gym 4 days a week at 6:15.
mm,
But on my days when I don't go to the gym, I end up sleeping in a little bit later.
oh,
The
there you go.
4:30
But
was a little early.
that's okay. At least you go 4 times a week. I train every day, 7 days a week,
Mhm.
and today was day 319 that I posted. And last year I posted every day that different workouts, and I do that right now. I post a 5-minute workout just to give people inspiration to at least do something with their lives, because I think movement is going to keep our mind sharp and our body healthy. So for me, movement is everything. So reading, moving, conversations, it's going to keep us sharp, right? So for me, I put up, believe it or not, I still put on my alarm, but I'm like, wake up and it's, oh, my alarm's going to go off in an hour. Okay, let me shut it now. Well, sometimes it's 45 minutes, but I always wake up before my alarm does. And so sometimes I'm like, one day I know that I'm not going to wake up and that alarm is going to wake me up. I still haven't had that happen yet. So
Wow.
I wake up before I'm supposed to wake up, because I set my intentions the night before with my gratitude. I go into my gratitude, and I also know what the next day is going to bring. I knew that you and I were going to have this conversation today. I'm just glad it's going better than I expected. So thank you for that. But everything is all intentional. So my mind, as I'm sleeping, because the subconscious mind is one that I use constantly. So in the night, right before I go to sleep, I ask for guidance. I ask for innovation. I ask for ideas. I ask for how to's so they show up in my days. And then I think that's why I'm so excited to get up, that I get up way before my alarm. And it's because I'm so excited, because every day, you said it earlier, if you wake up saying this is going to be a great day, that's great. But what if you went to sleep saying tomorrow is going to be a great day? Wouldn't that set you up a little bit earlier than when you just wake up?
Absolutely. And it is, we're recognizing as well that a lot of our reality is created through our expectations. I
Mhm.
watched this video days ago. It was somebody saying, it was, I don't know, it was maybe, I forget what it was, but they were saying, it was like, it was somebody having a presentation, and they had like words on the screen,
Mm,
and then they had like the audio going with it, and everybody like, oh yeah, they're saying this. But then once they had that same track, the same audio going, but they had different words up on the screens, and it was saying, oh, that it's actually saying that. And then as soon as you saw that, you were able to hear that,
mm,
because it was kind of a little bit of an accent. And it was just fascinating to recognize, oh, maybe reality, our perceptions,
mhm,
it is based upon our expectations, what we expect. So if you have, the attitude of gratitude, if you have a feeling that you are connected to something larger than yourselves, and so if you have a purpose, right? If you have something fueling you, you have a mission, you have something to direct that energy to, and something to be receptive of. I think that's such a game changer for people. And it inspires you to be in motion. If you have a feeling that you wake up and amazing things are going to happen, exactly, you'll be excited. But if you have the
mhm.
opposite, you're like, maybe I should just stay in bed then.
Stay stay
I
under the
can't risk
covers.
it.
Yeah.
I can't risk
Yeah.
it. I'll stay here all day. So it's just a view, tuning, aligning, and I think it's having some kind of a goal as well. Having some kind of, it's also recognizing like our brain releases dopamine when we feel like, when we move closer to a goal, when that space between ourselves and the goal shrinks, it's actually dopamine that is released. So that's why
Mm.
like kind of hacking some of these feel good chemicals, happy chemicals in our brain. It sounds like something that you've been doing for a very long time. Like you are
Mhm.
literally high on life all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that, like, the people who are gonna become black belts,
Mhm.
I don't let them think that that's the end, because
Mhm.
for me, that's the beginning. That's when you really start to
Mhm.
learn, right? So a lot of people, they either stop learning when they finish high school or college, and that's it. That's the last time they ever picked up a book, or that's the last time they ever went to a seminar or workshop or anything like that. And a lot of people don't like the word work.
Mhm.
I think the word work for me has a different meaning than for
Mhm.
most people. It means, oh, I have to do this. And for me, it means I get to do this, right? And it's
Mhm.
the difference in words, that it's how you see something,
Mhm.
the perception you talked about, because we can definitely challenge ourselves to be better. But if we use the words that are out there and we take the negativity from it, that's all we're going to get back,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Ashley, I got to tell you, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you
with
so
me.
much. This has been lovely. Yeah,
Where are
it's
you?
so
Where are you
exciting.
located?
I'm currently in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I've
Um,
moved around quite a bit the last few years, trying to kind of experiencing different areas, and now I'm like, oh, okay, the mountains. The mountains seems nice. A little bit
nice, nice.
more, yeah, a little bit more chill. Like I was in LA for many years, in
Mm,
Chicago, San Francisco, and I'm like, okay, a little bit of a
there you go.
different season.
There you go. Everything happens for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So thank you again for being here with me today. And do me a favor, hang on while we say goodbye
Okay.
to everybody. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and connect with Ashley. It's ashleymosaic.com, correct? So
Correct.
do us all a favor, go connect with her. And if you're interested in connecting with me, you know where to find me. And if you don't, shoot me a DM.
Mhm.
Here's the thing, keep yourself motivated daily and do something that's going to enrich your life and help people. And make sure to have an exceptional day, everybody. Take care,
Mhm.
and we will see you soon. No, not that soon. I'm kidding. Here we go.